We're here at the Infineon Raceway for the 8th round in the Formula Forza R1 Championship. I'm your host, Ryan McDowell. We'll ride on board here with James Hall from Jet Motorsport as these drivers begin their warm-up lap. In qualifying, we had InFlamess from BoshTech Racing take pole with a 1:15.341 with his Bentley, out-qualifying next nearest FMS Senna from AVR, a 1:15.682 for that driver. XPR Roadrunner picks up third for Serpent Racing in his Ferrari, a 1:15.903, only the third driver to break into the 1:15s. The Boulenwald 5 with a 5% power restriction still ends up going fourth, 1:16.055. XPR Overdrive for Serpent Racing ends up fifth. TLR Eclipse is sixth. BTR Villanelle for LLBM is 7th. Johnny Two Shoes for Midnight Performance Development in his Toyota is 8th. BTR Blazin is 9th. James Hall, a brilliant performance, ends up 10th. XY101 for K-Trim Team GB is 11th. Wenna J, another great performance for him, 12th for Jet Lotus. Goddess de Plum is 13th for Midnight Performance Development. Scurry 76, K-Trim Team GB, the second driver, 14th. Rock Lewis S is filling in for our UK Shadow this week, ends up 15th, narrowly out-qualifying Magnum 278 of Jet Motorsport for the last spot in Group A. Now, the drivers will be slotting into 30-foot gapped starting grid positions here due to the concrete walls. Normally, we use 20-foot gaps, but we use 30 here because of the concrete walls and the additional risk of damage, because there's really nowhere for the cars to go. You see that also at Sebring, where the cars are just kind of stuck. We'll wait for the start here in just a moment. We're going to ride on board with XPR Overdrive as we wait for the start here. It'll be interesting to see how good those Ferraris can get off the line and whether that Lola, yes, it does look like the Lola from AVR is going to get a good start. He hops into the lead again. Looks like Boulenwald down into 5th. Overdrive up a position. It looks like maybe InFlamess may lose a position here. No, he holds on to 2nd. XPR Roadrunner there still maintaining 3rd. Boulenwald falling back several positions. He's now in 7th. I guess that's 6th. We're in 4th place here with XPR Overdrive at the moment as we start entering the carousel. Wide line there from BTR Blazin at the back there in the Panos. We enter the carousel. We're leaving the carousel now, actually heading down into turn 7. This is heavy on the brakes here. Got to be careful about any rear endings here. Now we head into the grippy S's. FMS Senna now leads this race. InFlamess 2nd, Roadrunner 3rd, XPR Overdrive 4th, BTR Villanelle 5th, Boulenwald 6th, Johnny Two Shoes 7th, James Hall 8th, BTR Blazin 9th, Rock Lewis S up a ton of positions up into 10th. Wenna J 11th, Goddess de Plum 12th, TLR Eclipse is 13th, fell dramatically. XY101 14th, Scurry 76 is 15th. We'll just check the back and see if there's any damage here. Yes, massive damage for Scurry 76. That looks like a forced retirement for him. That is unfortunate. First lap. That is really unfortunate. Let's take a look. XY101 appears to be the victim. He is over 90%. He is forced retired from this race. That is really unfortunate. First lap, a forced retirement from both K-Trim Team GB drivers. Take a look at TLR Eclipse. Escapes with no damage. Pits early, though. That's what caused him to fall back through the pack. Let's go back to the front now and ride on board with InFlamess from BoshTech Racing, still trying to hunt down and reclaim the lead from FMS Senna there in the Lola. We see him in the blue and white AVR there. XPR Overdrive not far behind there in fourth, trying to gain back the gap to his teammate. XPR Roadrunner currently sits third. This track has a very narrow, fast line. The track seems wide, but to go fast, there's a very narrow line that if you get off that line, you're much slower and susceptible to either going off the track or getting past. So this is an exercise in being kind of inch perfect with these cars. There we see the Bentley of BoshTech Racing going through the carousel. That Ferrari will make up some ground here into turn 7, as they have some of the best brakes on the entire registry, on the roster rather. Let's take a look at what's happening with the Buhlenwald in 6th. Likely, it's hard to say. He could go one of two directions here with this race strategy. He could either finish off podium in 4th place, as he has done every time he's wanted to. Ooh, that's a close call there, as they go into turn 11 there. He could either finish 4th to remove all of his power restriction, or if he finishes 2nd, he's able to pick up quite a few points. And he will go up to 10% power restriction, but so will the race leader. And when you take into consideration that there are 3 more races after this, that leaves him at 10% for the next race, 5% for the race after that, and leaves him at full power for Le Mans if he was to finish on podium. Who knows which strategy he's going to use in these early laps? Very hard to tell, but we'll stay with that story as it develops here. We've got Johnny Two Shoes now 7th. Rock Lewis is up into 8th. Wenna J 9th. Scurry 76 retiring from the race. XY101 is 14th still. Perhaps an early pit from BTR Blazin there. Yeah, no damage. Woo! That looks like a... Oh, he does have some damage, and he does go off track. Picks up a little bit more damage there on the exit of turn 3. It's not going to be what he wants to see at all. Very close with TLR Eclipse as they enter the carousel here. All over the back of him, clearly not wanting to lose any positions. Does have 11% rear damage. I'm not entirely sure that that's going to hurt him tremendously here, but drivers aren't happy with losing any of their downforce, and forcing a pit sooner than you'd like is generally not what the drivers want to see. A 1:18.530 fastest lap from him. Let's go take a look at how about BTR Villeneuve, currently sitting 5th for LOBM and hunting down XPR Overdrive from Serpent Racing. A 1:16.926 is his best lap there. As we come down into turn 7. This complex here, this is turn 9 here, but this complex of S's is very challenging on the drivers, because if you get off just a little bit, you'll put a tire on the section of the rumble strips that makes the tail end kick out, and it really upsets the balance of the car. So, you know, this is truly impressive to see these drivers do this lap after lap and not make those mistakes that lose them positions. The elevation change here is pretty wild, but average fairly neutral as the track goes around. Now there is a high side here, and we're sitting at it. Then the track tends to go downhill here as we come up into turn 6, or the carousel. Very tricky line through here. There's a couple of lines you can take. It's kind of the only point on the track that that narrow line we were talking about gets a little bit thicker and allows for some variation. Now, all of these drivers are using traction control, so they can get on the power as soon as the car is really pointed in the right direction. A little bit of a wide line there from XPR Overdrive ahead doesn't really appear to have cost him any time. They gotta be careful, because right here they're gonna get really close to the wall. Villeneuve thinks about a pass, but just can't bring himself to dive to the inside. Probably a good call for him, as that Serpent Racing is undamaged and has brilliant brakes. He's gonna need to get closer to apply some pressure. You see the three of these, the battle for fourth. This is very close here. Let's go back and look at what the front runners are doing here. XPR Roadrunner appears to be a little bit in an isolated bubble here, not incredibly close to the front runners. Must have fallen back. Take a look. InFlamess still hunting down. There we see the gap to Roadrunner. InFlamess still hunting down FMS Senna there for the lead. That Lola of AVR is brilliant here. It's going to be challenging to get around that driver. A win is what both of these drivers are going for. It seems obvious, but with how power restrictions work, you got to be a little bit strategic about when you do take the win based on when you've already had power restriction. You typically go all out until you use your immunity, and then you start getting strategic about when to push and when to hold back. Crest the hill there for turn 3 as they head into turn 4. The gap is maybe a second and a half or so between the two. Let's step back and take a look at James Hall and Goddess de Plum here. They're in the S's right now. Looks like early pit strategies for a lot of the field here. Now as they come into turn 1, they're going to tuck in extremely tight there, right there, to those tire walls. You see him knocking off a cone as he prepares himself for turn 2. 1:17.696 for James Hall. He's a 1:16.6, so he's a second off of his qualifying pace, but surely as the race moves on, he will find more pace in that Jet Motorsport Acura. Take a look at the race between Wenna J and Johnny Two Shoes here. A little further back, this will be the battle for 10th. Does look like Wenna J has picked up some front end damage, hopefully not the rear of Johnny Two Shoes. He is running a 1:19. It does look like it is. Some contact there, perhaps, between Wenna J and Johnny Two Shoes. In the background there, you see XY101, retired from the race, pulled off to the side of the road. The ruling is if you have more than 90% aero damage on front or rear, you are forced retired from the race to prevent further incident. We see Rock Lewis S not far behind there, and it looks like that was no, they're getting ready to be lapped from FMS Senna. Yes, we've lost some drivers here. FMS Senna looking to lap these two drivers here. Let's see if we can't figure out who we've lost. It does look like we've lost TLR Eclipse. And we know we have lost Scurry 76. We have lost Rock Lewis S, also from AVR. A little bit of curb action back there from Johnny Two Shoes. As we enter the penultimate corner here. This little kink at the end is actually turn 12. That is the final corner as they finish out lap 11, start lap 12. A 1:15.925, fastest lap from InFlamess Senna right now. We'll take a look at what InFlamess has to answer for that. 1:15.746, best lap from InFlamess. So we know he's got the legs, he just needs to get the pass on. 1:16.881 as they pass that lap down traffic. That certainly won't be the last time they do that. We'll take a look at the battle for fourth here. Still raging, very close here. 1:16.7 from BTR Villeneuve as he tries to close in on the back of that Ferrari. Bulenwald not giving up either, still in sixth. Hunting down that LLBM Toyota there in the blue and white as they enter the S's. Let's take a look at Goddess de Plum here in seventh. No damage for him, a 1:18.141 dirty for him. He's just got to find a little bit of curb pop there. He's just got to find the right line here and get a clean lap in. Surely he's going faster than that to achieve what he's already got. We'll take a look at how he has not pit yet, so we'll see how he finishes lap 12 here. And across the line at a 1:18.1. That appears to be his pace. Take a quick look at right behind him, James Hall. 1:17.0. The pair are catching Goddess. Not all that far behind. James Hall appears, yes, he has pit. He was part of that first group that pit. So he's sitting good to pass Goddess. The feisty battle, a little wide there on exit, a little tail happy from James Hall as he tries to fend off that Caterham R1 driver, BTR Blazin. Ooh, wide there also from BTR Blazin just as they crest the hill. It's easy to lose grip there as the car crests the hill and suspension uncompresses. You lose your mechanical grip. Ooh, little wide there on exit, really pushing these cars to their limit to try and make something happen here. This is the battle for 8th between BTR Blazin and James Hall. Woohoo! Looks like there's gonna be a pass here down into. Yep, he has made the pass. That's BTR Blazin around James Hall. We've got a slowly moving XY 101. BTR Blazin goes wide. James Hall may get the position here as they go into turn 3. You got a chop from BTR Blazin. No, James has got the position. He has got the position. That is a clean pass from James Hall. Brilliant maneuver from him, seizing the opportunity when BTR Blazin made a mistake there. This is a good battle for 8th here. Let's take a look at how exciting the front battle is. 1:16.0. 1:16.0 for InFlamess there. Certainly can see the leader there just ahead. Like we mentioned earlier, both of these drivers will be really giving it everything they have to try and win this race. InFlamess is probably best set up to win this race, but you know, that's nice to say that somebody is better set up to win a race, but if you're not ahead when the checkered flag drops, none of this strategy matters. We'll see how we finish out lap 15 here at the Sonoma GP. 1:15.824, certainly picking up the pace. Let's take a look at what FMS Senna is able to do here. 1:15.797, fastest lap of the race then, or is it? No, not fastest lap of the race, but certainly a very comparable pace for the AVR driver leading the race. Now, it's going to be the onus on the passing driver to actually make the overtake clean. The driver ahead can't block him per se, but can take defensive lines in the corners. So it's certainly much harder to pass than it is to just lead the race. Now, FMS Senna took this lead right off the start there with a great start, and has held it ever since. We'll take a look at where Serpent Racing is at. Right now, seated 3rd and 4th with BTR Villeneuve, and it appears that the Boulenwall has made his first pit. He is down in 7th at the moment. That's got us to Plum there behind in 6th at the moment. BTR Villeneuve 5th. Let's ride on board with him. It appears a bit of a gap has opened up between XPR Overdrive and BTR Villeneuve. Johnny Two Shoes now out. Johnny Two Shoes out of the race. Wena J at the back. No further damage for him. But that does appear to be BTR Villeneuve ahead, which would mean that 5th place has passed him, has lapped him. See how this works out here. This could be just a story of who survives Sonoma. This is known for being a very challenging track to keep clean and you know, have clean overtaking. But this does replace Mazda Laguna Seca on the calendar. Was it a right decision? I don't know. With 4 retirements already, 5 retirements actually when you count XY101, it may not have been the right choice, but the calendar moves forward all the same. FMS Senna a little bit off pace, a 1:16.118. We'll see if that means anything good for InFlamess. It does. InFlamess a 1:15.794, slowly reeling in that AVR driver. Drivers race on sunrise here, which can make the track look it can give the track quite a bit of sheen when they're in cockpit view. We'll ride on board with BTR Villeneuve to give you an idea of what this looks like. It's in certain lights, you get quite a bit of glare, and it becomes difficult to see the track. We'll see here as he starts looking into the sun. There you start to see some of it, the kind of sheen and watery effect on the road. Now it is still not as there's the full-on sun. Still not as prominent as it is at tracks like Suzuka or Hockenheim, where you just have massive glare, but still affects the driver's performance from just midday driving. 1:17.657 from BTR Villeneuve. That's fastest lap for him, but still a second and a half off of his qualifying pace. It is quite challenging to get the car to be able to do what it did during qualifying, as qualifying is just a one lap. You just got to be perfect for that one. The race, you've got to be perfect for 50. BTR Villeneuve falling further back then from Serpent Racing. XPR Roadrunner. It does look like, I'm sorry, that's overdrive into the pits then, is what that means. Overdrive emerges from the pits in 6th. Just behind Goddess de Plum, who is currently seated 5th. That puts the Boulenwall 7th, just behind this race. So as close as we go down, it looks like Goddess is going to use this opportunity to go into the pits. Probably a wise move from the Midnight Performance Development driver there. Now Boulenwall on overdrive. Will Boulenwall, with a 5% power restriction, really have much of a challenge getting around this Serpent Racing Ferrari? And I think he will. The Ferraris have proven that they are difficult to pass because of their massive acceleration. Even if they get a corner wrong, they can accelerate out of the corner and nearly be as fast as even a full power Bentley. Bentley appears to just not have the grip that Ferrari does. As we see XPR Overdrive pull away from the Boulenwall here. We'll look at BTR Blazin and James Hall, still close, still really close as they exit the carousel of lap 20 here. We are 40% of the way through this race. And this battle has been raging pretty much since the beginning. Fastest lap there for BTR Blazin. Fastest lap for him anyway. Ooh, a bit of a corner chop, and it makes him go wide into 8 there. That'll ruin it for 9 and 10. James Hall may be able to use this opportunity to gain some ground on the Caterham driver. That Acura has supreme grip, really, but mid-speed acceleration is just massive. The Panos has good top end, really not suited to this track at all. Very front-heavy because of that V8 positioned in the front of the car. I believe it is the only R1 car, LMP1 car that is forward engine rear-wheel drive. It does make brakes on this car pretty good, but not as good as that Ferrari, as the Panos is one of the heavier entrants in the season. InFlamess still hunting down the lead here. Not very much. Wow, 1:15.684 from InFlamess there. That is the fastest lap of the race. It is not clean because of the drafting there off of the race leader. Still a 1:15.9 from the race leader, but that's 0.3 difference between the two. Perhaps we can see when they take their pits that this will be a very interesting race indeed. Go take a look at BTR Villeneuve and XPR Overdrive. Yes, the battle is back on Boulenwall, right behind BTR Villeneuve there from LBM Motorsports. And XPR Overdrive you can see just ahead. The pair of them may be closing back up on the Serpent Racing driver. So this battle as well raging for pretty much the entire race so far. We're nearing half distance here. Oh, a little wide from the Boulenwall there, but gets it back on track enough to not really lose too much time there. If it finishes as it does with FMS Senna in the lead, that would be FMS Senna's third win of the season, the only driver to be able to claim that. And it will also mean the first, well, no, I guess it does not mean the first victory for ABR. They've already claimed their first victory there at Hockenheim. He claimed his other, well, he's been fighting for pole position at least for the past two races, and got out-qualified by Pano's driver Alex P. from Aces Wild by the slimmest of margins, just really, really narrow. And then here it looked almost certain that FMS Senna was going to have pole up until the last 15 minutes of qualifying, and InFlamess came in from BoshTech Racing to go 3/10 quicker and dash the hopes of FMS Senna for pole here. So this win will certainly mean quite a bit to FMS Senna. 1:16.1, a little bit of a reduction in pace there from the BoshTech Racing driver, but still staying at a really reasonable gap there to the race leader, FMS Senna from ABR. We're receiving reports now that Rock Lewis S retired from the race after Wenna J apparently rear-ended him when Rock Lewis S was in 7th place. We'll have to take a look at that after the replay. Looks like it was a voluntary retirement, 30% aero damage on the back for Rock Lewis S, but around here you need every bit of downforce. This is getting really close now. Let's take a look. Right on board with InFlamess as he closes in, claws back to try and reclaim his first place where he started on the grid. Lola is just so quick through these S's though. That was actually a lag hit, not a real hit there, just the connections making it look like he had run into pit lane there. We'll just watch this battle for a while here, see how it pans out. really close here into, that was turn 11, we're coming into turn 12 now. It appears that this first sector, maybe even the first sector and a half, that InFlamess is faster. Ooh, a little deep in there, a little bit too much speed from that Bentley. Costs him a bit as you see that Lola sort of disappear into the distance. They crest turn 3 here, heading down into turn 4. Ooh, bit of a lag spike there also from the AVR driver, underscoring how important it is for strong connections. If that had been a real hit, that would have ruined his race entirely from the lead. And we really hope that in further iterations of Forza that they can resolve some of these connection issues that appear to plague the game. A little bit wide there on the exit of turn 8. That costs quite a bit. Costs quite a bit of time, and that's FMS Senna from the lead into the pits. Now what can InFlamess do while he's out? We're only at half distance now, so theoretically he could go quite a while on these tires, only 11% wear at the back. He could go quite a while on these, some bonsai laps, and try and leapfrog him with pit strategy here. We'll see how this works out. Go back to Senna and see how he's faring and where he comes out. This pit lane is just ridiculously long. There he comes out. He is still in second place there. You can see the massive time gap there, though, for his lap time. With cold tires, goes a little wide in turn 2. Probably not going to affect him much. We may not know until the end of the race how much this will help with InFlamess now reclaiming the lead. We'll see how he does on his first lap, though. As he crosses the line to finish lap 29 of 50 of 15.869, so certainly on it. Will he be able to best his, or even match his qualifying pace? At the moment, neither of them have touched the pace that Senna was able to extract in qualifying, which is a 15.6. So we'll see how that pans out. We'll just stay on board here with InFlamess for a little bit. We apologize for that brief interruption there. We are now back And InFlamess on lap 31 comes into the pits. The question is, where will Senna be? We'll look for him. You can see InFlamess there. We'll see if we can't see Senna come up. There you saw Senna go by. I'm sorry, that's Jet Motorsport. We've got a long while before we see Senna go by. InFlamess is now working his way out of the pits. While he was out, he did set a 1:15.553, fastest lap of the race. There's Senna. Senna goes by into the lead. What a chop. How close was that? It does not pan out for InFlamess. How incredible is that? Senna for AVR maintains the lead. He sets a 1:15.627 his last lap. That's incredible. Really able to just dial it up right when he needs to maintain the lead here. This is looking promising for him to the end of the race. Very little strategy can be extracted now from the rest of the race. No more pits need to happen, and there weren't too many instances where InFlamess was able to try and make an overtake maneuver. We'll ride on board here with BTR Villeneuve for LLBM as he tries to reel in XPR Overdrive from Serpent Racing. This is the battle for fourth here. There you see Bulin in the background. Wenna J there still at the back. Alright, let's take a look now. Not a whole lot is changing here. We'll take a look at the battle between James Hall and BTR Blazin. What is the battle for 7th? 1:16.967, fastest lap clean for James Hall. As he rounds into turn 7 there, begins the S's. You can see BTR Blazin behind, not quite as close as it once was. 7th place, this is going to be a record performance from James Hall here. His previous best, I believe, at Suzuka earlier in the year. $1:17.131 from James Hall. Let's take a look at BTR Blazin, how he's doing. 1:17.318, 1:17.365, his best. So he's faster than he went dirty, but his times are looking very consistent here. We'll have to see how that works out to the end of the race. Bulenwall 6th. Little bit of front end damage there, 17%. Not entirely sure where that came from, but we'll keep you updated if we hear any news on that. He crosses the line. He's got a 1:16.132. That is ridiculously fast from him, and now all over the back of Wenajay as Wenajay just pulls over and lets him go by, conceding the position to Buhlenwald. Pretty textbook there. Let's take a look at how far Villeneuve is. Villeneuve not much further. He's now into turn 6. So that means you're going to see the Bentley come out here right at one of these next. There you can see the Bentley of the Buhlenwald behind BTR Villeneuve. It's strange that these two are several tenths off of what Buhlenwald is capable of, and yet Buhlenwald is still 6th. You got to think now that Buhlenwald is switching to Plan B, and his goal now is to finish 4th to rid himself of all power restriction. Oh my! FMS Senna has moved down into 2nd. We missed it entirely. InFlamess now leads this race. We'll see if we can't get some information on what happened there. Alright, a slight update there from the race leaders. It appears that on lap 34, Senna went a little wide into the S's. We're talking about turn 8 there, after turn 7, and that allowed InFlamess to slip up the inside and take the lead. He went a little wide into the sand, and that did allow BoshTech Racing to reclaim the lead here. And now you see him running 1:15.677, really pushing the pace of this race. Even 9th for Goddess de Plum here, where he currently sits, is going to be great points for Midnight Performance Development. I'm sure they were hoping for more points from Johnny Two Shoes, though. Although this does rid Johnny Two Shoes of his 5% power restriction. A little bittersweet there that it meant a retirement from the race. Wenajay now currently seated 10th, hobbling around the track with quite a bit of damage. Looks to be about 2 seconds off of his pace. We'll take a look at James Hall and BTR Blazin. There you can see InFlamess getting ready to lap them. Looks like a little bit of contact there again for BTR Blazin. I don't know if that increased his damage. Let's take a quick peek at him. Yes, 22% damage, so he moves up from 6% damage to 22% damage. This is probably chapter written here for BTR Blazin on 8th, unless he's going to fall into the clutches of Goddess de Plum in 9th. it does not look like he's going to catch James Hall now, save a major mistake from James Hall. Boulenwall 6 still trying to reel in 5th place BTR Villeneuve ahead, and XPR Overdrive then still holding down 4th. This will be a really good points weekend then for Serpent Racing, as they currently sit 3-4. (16.346) for FMS Senna in that Lola. He's really got to pull out and make a breakthrough here to be able to catch InFlamess. Maybe this lap traffic will help. There's only a couple of spots that they can concede positions safely. Looks like BTR Blazin is trying to concede right there, and has given up both positions, so BTR Blazin falls back, allows the race leaders to continue their battle. 10 laps to go now. 1:15.861 for second place FMS Senna. 1:15.999 from InFlamess, so it's pretty much even there. At this point, Senna just needs to push everything, and InFlamess needs to just make sure he doesn't acquire any damage and bring home the race here in the final 10 laps. James Hall going a little wide there to allow the leaders by. Appears a little bit of a mistake there from XPR Roadrunner into turn 2, but it does not appear like he's going to be in any kind of danger of falling off the podium here. This will be interesting as it finishes. This will be InFlamess picking up the win and 10% power restriction. That does mean that he'll be 5% restricted for the second to last race, and then 0% restriction for the finale at Le Mans. FMS Senna will pick up 5% power restriction for this race, and XPR Roadrunner as well will pick up 5% for the next race at what is that, Nürburgring Grand Prix. And we'll see Overdrive then looking really good on possibly a podium then at the German GP. Just a mess of cones there into the penultimate corner. Last lap from XPR Roadrunner confirming that mistake, a 1:19.242, 3 seconds off the pace, so that mistake did cost him quite a bit there. We'll take a look, a tight battle here for fourth. Looks like Gadas de Plum conceding the positions there. This is really tight now between Overdrive, BTR Villeneuve, and the Boulenwall. Boulenwall could skip here straight from 6th to 4th, which is exactly where he'd want to finish if he wants to rid himself of all power restriction. So this looks to be the best battle of the race right now. Leaders are on lap 43. These guys are on lap 42. Really underscoring how challenging this track is to run fast laps consistently, and we see those front two doing that. Got us to Plum there getting lapped, but he is only 3 positions down on these guys, showing where the gaps are at. After the Bullen wall, you got a considerable gap back to 7th place James Hall, and then BTR Blazin right behind him. But like we said, has increased front aero damage, and then got us to Plum behind that, which we see in the background there. .117.3 from this pack. It's fairly representative. It is spread out just a little bit, but it only takes a couple of corners for that to shrink back up to a really close race. So we'll keep watching this for now. Listening to the driver comms, it sounds like there was another a moment for XPR Roadrunner, who is currently seated 3rd. If he keeps doing those, you can see him there. The pack is getting closer to him. Too many more of those mistakes, and they'll be on him. And then, when the pack bunches up, that's when overtakes happen. So we'll see what happens here. Really gripping stuff here. This is some pretty good racing, especially at a track this challenging. Just 5 more laps left in the race. 6 more laps for these guys. Turn 7 now. They head into the S's. This is where the race lead changed, giving InFlamess back the lead. Supposedly right there is where FMS Senna went a little bit wide, allowing InFlamess to take the lead into turn 11 here. And it's almost right back to as close as it was. You see that Toyota of Got Us to Plum from Midnight Performance Development back there. Still gonna bank pretty good points here. 9th for him. FMS Senna still battling from 2nd here. 15.9. It does look like InFlamess has pulled out a little bit of a comfortable lead here. Not too comfortable. I mean, if he makes a 3-second mistake like Overdrive did, that's race handed right back to ABR. This has been a pretty good battle since we've been watching. They both stayed in the 115s, which is just incredible pace. Winajay conceding there on the exit of the carousel. He'll pull down decent points for him as well. 10th at the moment. A little bit wide there, but doesn't really affect him too much as they go down into turn 11 here. Back on board with BTR Villanov in this race for 4th. can he make it happen in 4 remaining laps? Buhlenwald pulling down 6th. We'll take a look at what potential points are looking like. XPR Roadrunner goes 16.2, his fastest lap now. Very close to his qualifying pace. A little bit of a mistake there from BTR Villeneuve. .17.6, a second down, but no position change for the LLBM driver. A little bit of a tail correction there from BTR Villeneuve. That's Kyle Litherland at the wheel we're on board with. Several lines that people take in that final corner there. InFlamess Senna picks up damage. We're not entirely sure from where. The 17.1, his last lap, he's got 23% damage. This looks all but certain that he's going to finish second here. See what happens here. Just 2 laps to go. This is pretty much a done deal. We'll see InFlamess pick up 100 points for his win here. InFlamess Senna will pick up 85, XPR Roadrunner 75, XPR Overdrive 68 points for 4th, BTR Villeneuve 62 for 5th. Wow, we just saw InFlamess Senna spin out there. Top of the hill. Massive front end damage. That's scary stuff, I'm sure, for how hard he's pushing this car. 1:23.352 certainly has dashed his hopes, but he still can pick up second place on the podium if he can keep these last 2 laps together. Tenth place for Wenna J means 42 points. A little bit of a struggle for control there from Wenna J behind in 10th. You see the retired XY101 from Caterham Team GB there. There's really just 10 cars in action here from the original 15. The others were retirements. We'll see what happens in Group B. We're certainly going to have some people moving up. InFlamess Senna is going to pick up second then. We'll take a look at BTR Villeneuve. Last lap now. And here's InFlamess gonna take the win for BoshTech Racing. Another victory for him. Top step of the podium. And there it is. 1:15.699 at the end. after an hour and 5 minutes of racing. FMS Senna coming into the final corner here. He will pick up second. So we've got a bit yet for XPR Roadrunner. FMS Senna picks up second place. XPR Roadrunner now getting ready to cross the line for third. And now we'll go back to the battle here for fourth. BTR Villanov is going to finish fifth. Bulenwald sixth. We'll go quick get the time for XPR Overdrive. And the Bulenwald in sixth with front end damage, 17% for him. James Hall currently seated 7th as he's on his last lap in now what is the third and final sector. And he crosses the line there for 7th, picking up 53 points for that driver. That's a great job by him. BTR Blazin 8th. He then picks up 8th. Let's take a look at Gaddis Deplam from Midnight Performance Development in 9th. He's here finishing up his last lap as well. Serpent Racing will be quite happy with their 3-4 performance. That'll certainly put them atop the list for most points earned by a team this weekend. The wild card is for most overtakes without a penalty in Group B. So Gaddis Deplam there does take home 9th. You see his time there. Go back to Wenna J on his final lap with damage, several seconds back. And Wenna J for Jet Lotus does cross the line. That is our final placement, as XY101 is retired from the race. That's it for the Sonoma GP from Group A. Join us next time for the German Grand Prix at Nürburgring GP. That'll be in 2 weeks' time. Can't wait to see what the drivers are capable of there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.